Today you might be interested to see a Nipa hut being repaired. Apparently it's about 5 years ago that this was built, and the guys have arrived on site to remove the old and replace with new material for the roof. So there's 3 guys on site and they're just removing all the plants and stuff that was otherwise there. So you'll be able to see the process of how they replace a Nipa hut roof. First thing they have to do, of course, is to pull off or disassemble all the various bits and pieces attached to the inside so that they can take off the sort of shade cloth. I wouldn't call it shade cloth, it's a sort of a covering that helps to prevent vermin and birds nesting in it. It's on the top, it's all this green, it's a green plastic, and that's what they'll do. So they're slowly unconnecting or disconnecting all the way around so that they expose the old, which is, as you can see, is just falling down very, very dry. But that's the first stages that they go through. And then maybe the boss is going to go away and leave the 2 guys. He'll leave the 2 guys to sort it all out and do the job properly. Know how? That's the delivered material. It's like a thatching, really. Each piece in a bundle. It's just a series of reed, all laid out, short ones and long ones, and they're just put in panels, a bit like when you do any kind of roof. One will be laid slightly over the other one to stop the rain from penetrating. Very natural, and it's tied together again with a reed as well. So they're busy pulling it off, and when they start taking the old off, you'll be able to see what happens. Of course, they always, when you're in the Philippines, they always arrive with not enough equipment, so they had to borrow a step ladder to get up on top. Inside you'll see that the original has a strapping to each little section, and he'll have to take all of those off to remove with his machete. Oh, early in the morning, tired, too much 2x2. Oh, I see, he's actually separating all of the wire that holds the reeds onto the subframe of the roof. There's quite a lot of work involved. They'll probably be here all day, but that's what they do. They have to disconnect all their hard work. If you look here, you can see how it's like it's sewn around the bamboo here to support it. So they have to cut that all off. But once they do that, they'll be able to remove the old and clean up before they then start putting on the other part. Now, I would assume that they start at the bottom and work their way up to the top. Otherwise they would have to put the different layers underneath. So they'll start at the bottom, get the bottom straight, and then they'll just add up all the way up to the top, to the ridge of the Nipa hut there. As you can see, they've now disconnected the main roof from the old, and you can see also that they now are well and truly separated from the frame of the roof. Won't be long and they'll be pulling it all off, and then they'll clean it all out and start putting the new onto it. They will now fold back the green cover so that it can be reused, and once they've done that, they'll be clear to take off all of the old reeds that form the roof, the tiles, or you could say to the Nipa hut. That's what they call it, it's a Nipa hut. Exposing the old rubbish roof. Devastation! Much easier to work from within, and the use of a pole to assist. Ooh, to be used again. And now they just get rid of all the old timber. Oh, it looks so sad and derelict, but it will have a new life now. Now you can see the bare structure ready to be cleaned up, dusted off, so that they're ready to start laying out and setting up the new roof that will now go on the property, giving it another new lease of life. They are now tying lengths down, a bit like taking off a piece of sticky tape, getting ready to stick a parcel together. They're putting little ties at various points along the way so that they can start to weave the first layer of the, I'll call it the tiling material. It's the first layer of the weed. As you can see, over time, eventually the weeds break down, and that's what causes them to deteriorate, and they're no longer doing what they should do. So that's why you need to replace them with the new material. And they will now start putting the new stuff in place, tying it and threading it through. He has a little wooden, I suppose you'd call it a wooden, what would you call that? It's more like a needle made of wood, which he then passes through and ties the tie on to hold the reeds in place, the new ones. Some people leave them sticking out like that. Some end up, as you see, they go up the apex of the building first of all, and they just lay them out every 2 to 3 inches apart all the way up, and they tie them with this here, knotting them as they go along, or should you say weaving them as they go along. That's what they do. They do all the 4 corners. We're in the sun this way, but you can see how he ties one side and then ties the other. They're quite flexible. They bend over to the shape of the corner. So that's a long and tedious job to get that point, and then they have to do the same all the way around the structure, all the way then up to the ridge. Of course, even the individual pieces are weaved together. They're just weaved together in line. As you just weaved all the way along in line to hold them together. And they're just literally folded together over a very small piece of bamboo at the top. So they bend the reed both ways. One, you have the end where you've cut them off the plant. That becomes the top bit. And the underside is the longer piece. I think that's the way it is. Yes, no, the underside is this part here is the underside. So what you see on the outside, that's to the top. That is the top, and that is the back. I have to put them back, otherwise you'll be arguing with me. Anyway, that's how they do it. A lot of weaving. They literally weave it together. And as you can see, that's the tool he uses to thread the material through. Something else to remember is that the long lengths are for the sides and the shorter lengths are for the corners. As you can also see, the guys are tying the first line of, I'll call it thread or string. It's plastic. It's not a natural product, it's plastic. And they tie the strapping down first before they lay over with the longer, wider pieces. So they're all hanging down there, ready to draw upon as they work their way up. Almost completed the 4 corners, and the younger guy is about to place the first piece on the bottom. Following the same procedure. tucking it in into the corner. He then now weaves up and ties the first line, one to each side, and then they work their way up to the ridge, up to the top. Seems a simple job, but it's a very time-consuming exercise. Almost complete to the top on the final corner. He has to snap that little piece of bamboo to make it centralize itself over the piece of bamboo that is I call it the ridge beam, the rafter. And that's him tying the first line in. Second piece. Maybe he'll use a shorter one on the end just to fill up the gap. We'll wait and see, or whether he uses another big one. Yes, he's going to use a smaller one to fill in the corner. And the corner the shorter one will go across here. And that's your first line as to finishing the triangle. Fitting it underneath the last one and underneath the corner. And then lining them all up and strapping it down. Now that the first line is in place, then the second line goes over the top. Lining up one after the other. The same applies as in the corner. It just sits underneath the corner piece. So just underneath each other, and he's just tying each line he ties down, pokes the wire through. It's just a overlocking stitch, as he then another one on top as well, just sitting it underneath the corners, so everything overlaps itself just like normal tiling, like a roof tile, except they're made of reeds, so it's like a thatching. It's like a thatch roof.
Jika cuma kapitan, mau barangay no, mulai kiri itu no mulai utang, kiri mana ya?
Ini yung mama sa boy.
Nababi lagi, oh.
Kagagawak eh.
Ha?
Kagagawak eh. Bagong dalas.
Now it looks like a young boy needs a haircut. All they do now is they put the hairnet over. That's the netting. They put that over, tie it back, and Bob is your uncle. I hope you enjoyed watching this. If you like this video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And we'll catch you later. Bye now.